Hi, everybody. I'm Jim. I work in the library at Central High School, and I'm here to read Muncha, Muncha, Muncha to you. So let's go. Let's have some fun. Okay, for years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and of gobbling them all up. But he never once tried it until this spring, said Mr. Greeley. This spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed, and he sowed, and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. Greeley. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh veggies. But one night, when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippy, 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 pat. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. Greeley saw his gnawed sprouts, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, nobody can get into my garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up. Tippy, tippy, pat. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreeley saw his nibbled leaves and gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the wire fence all around his vegetable garden. He huffed. Those flop ears will never get over it. Nobody can get into my garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, curdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreeley saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry. So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. Ha, he snorted. Those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. Nobody can get into my garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, tippy, pat. Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreeley saw his chopped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and blocked, sawed and stalked, drilled and filled, and trapped and locked, and he built a huge, enormous thing before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure, he exclaimed. They can't get through it, they can't get under it, and they can't get over it. Nobody, no bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now. And the sun went down, and the moon came up. Tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched a huge, enormous thing before them, and tippy, 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 pat, the bunnies hopped away. The next morning, when Mr. Greeley saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy. I beat the bunnies, he whooped, and did a jiggly, wiggly victory dance. Then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under it until he reached his vegetable garden. Ah, sighed Mr. McGreeley, at last. Smacking his lips, he picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside it for something yummy. Muncha, muncha, muncha. And here's Mr. McGreeley sitting with the bunnies, all eating their delicious veggies. And that's it.